Welcome to Spotlight 814, Erie's local theater podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Dolly, and I am joined by Zach Hoffman. Hey, Zach.
Hi. Hi.
And our and our resident former Mormon, James Wallace. How you doing,
Oh,
James?
yes, me. Hello.
That's you. And we would like to welcome our very special guest today. He is currently playing Mafala Hatimba in the 15th anniversary tour of Trey Parker and Matt Stone's hit musical, The Book of Mormon. Please welcome Jarius Miquel Cliett.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Good. Welcome to the show, Jarius.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you.
how's it going today?
It's going good. We're day five. Sorry. Tour life has a habit of making sure you never know what day it is.
Get
So
that.
I think it's Friday. We're in Miami right now. I'm a early bird, get to it kind of person, so I've already been to the gym. I've had breakfast. I'm kind of now perusing, as I call them, classifieds. I'm looking and seeing what's on Playbill, what's on Actors Access. I'm also looking for a sublet for the summer in New York for some
Mm.
things that I'm working on while we're off. So yeah, it's a busy morning, but we're here. We're talking about the Book of Mormon, and I'm excited.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Now, before we get into the Book of Mormon itself, tell us a little bit about yourself and how theater, first became part of your life.
Oh wow. Well, it's kind of funny now because now I actually have a tattoo of it on my arm. But I'm from Atlanta,
Mhm.
or born and raised. I grew up in the city for a good chunk of time, and then my parents kind of moved outside of the city right around the time I was in eighth grade. But theater, as I've kind of thought about it, so last year we got to play Atlanta in June, and it was phenomenal. It's the final stop of season three, and I had just taken over the role of Mafala probably about 4 weeks prior to getting to Atlanta. And so I've been actually playing Mafala now for about a year as of May 29th. And so when, being home and it being a hometown show and everything, I did press and I really had a chance to sit with a lot of people who had kind of impacted. And I didn't realize like how much theater in various forms and points in my life had happened throughout my time of young adolescence, whether that was church, community theater, speeches at school, school productions at a young age. I ended up going to performing arts high school for 4 years, and then ended up getting my bachelor's and my master's in vocal performance. One from the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa, and then the other one at Georgia State. But yeah, so it's just kind of been there in some form or fashion, but I almost didn't even do it. I was kind of looking at going into the mechanical engineering of my junior and senior year, and it wasn't until my advisor and my piano teacher at school, Miss Evelyn White, and a whole host of everybody. She was like the first point of contact where it was like, you need to look at vocal performance. Like you have a unique gift, you have a unique sound, and you need to keep fostering this. And other people chimed in with following your passion, but yeah,
Yeah.
I ended up applying to 4 or 5 schools, and everybody was pretty much for vocal performance except for one, which I actually did end up getting into for mechanical engineering. But yeah, but theater's just kind of been a part of it. And I auditioned. I was actually recollecting I'd auditioned or went to an EPA once upon a time after grad school for Book of Mormon. I traveled from Atlanta to New York for. I used to do this thing where I would like I'm so OCD. I would have a Word doc of a bunch of EPAs and ECCs that I wanted to go to, and I would block them up. So it was like a day of this, a day of this, a day of this.
Mhm.
And I would just get a flight from Atlanta to New York, stay with my frat brother, who him and his wife live in New York, and I would stay on his couch or in his spare bedroom when he was still a bachelor, and yeah, I would just do these things. And I remember auditioning for or trying to audition for Book of Mormon at the time, and I got what they call typed out. So it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they take the headshots and everything, and then, they go deliberate to the people, and then they come back and they were like, okay, we want this person, this person, this person. And I remember getting typed out, and I was like, that's it? Okay, all right. But jump
How it
to
goes.
2020, I was like, okay, well, I guess we got the rest of the day. But then you
Yeah,
jump
yeah.
to 2022 and I get an EcoCast from on Actors Access. to for the tour, and I knew somebody at the time who was on the Broadway cast and I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, I got this. What do I like? Can you tell me kind of how to I need to do this thing or put me in the mind frame so I know exactly, make sure I'm doing what they look for." So he coached me. I ended up submitting the tape, didn't hear anything. And I had somebody else who also submitted. She started hearing things and kept getting callback, callback, callback. And at that point, I started removing myself from it. I was like, you know what? Maybe, maybe I didn't get it. It's fine. It's cool.
Yeah, yeah,
It was nice to be considered or even get the audition. I'm about to, I think I was about to move to New York or something to that effect, but I had a gig in between in Bangor, Maine, doing 9 to 5. And I'm prepping to go do that for the summer. And I randomly on a Wednesday night, I'm about to lay down to go to sleep, and I get an email. It was like, "Hey, we would like to see you for final callbacks for Book of Mormon." And I was like,
yeah,
uh, oh, okay. I got to get a flight. So
yeah,
thankfully I had a community of people who, like, I've had a lot of people pour into me in ways of like, I've gotten gas cards, I've gotten money. People have like used buddy passes if they work for an airline to get me to places. And so it's
yeah,
really been a community thing. But I've been fortunate, like I said, to be able to do this not once, but twice in two different roles now. So Mafala is my
yeah,
second one. I was an ensemble member for a year and a half before I left for about a year, and now back as
mhm,
Mafala full time. So it's been a journey and a ride, and it's been nice to look back and see all the steps that have kind of led to this, and techniques and things and life lessons that have kind of made me not just a performer, but I would say in a lot of spaces the person I am, and how that
yeah,
shows up on stage and off stage. So it's
yeah.
been a really good journey.
And you played Madala last time, right?
I did. I did. What a time that was. And I mean that because, when I first took over Madala, I just turned 30. And I was like,
Okay.
oh, yeah, it's great. It's fun. And, if you know anything about the show,
Yeah.
I would say comparatively, it is more physical as an ensemble member than what I'm doing
Oh,
now. Like
absolutely.
this is a little bit, easier on my body and whatnot. And I remember I won't spoil anything, but there was a move that I do as Madala that ended up getting me a concussion,
Oh
like a
no.
mild concussion.
Oh.
And uh it was after that I was like, oh, I don't think my body likes this anymore. And so that was kind of the turn for me where I was like, okay, we might need to step away from this for a minute. But yeah, that's still like launching the tour. I was talking about it with another cast member. So right now on tour, we have four of the original cast members who are in season one. We're in season four right now. And so we were
Okay.
talking about it, like how wild it was to like be in those rehearsals at Carroll Studios, which is like 57th and 12th on, in Broadway, which is pretty far from where I was staying. I was staying at in my brother's apartment, which is like at the time 34th and 1st. So quite a trek to get,
That is a trip,
all
yeah.
the way over there.
Yeah.
But we were just like, we were putting the show together, and then you go to tech and everything. It was just like what basically building a tour from the ground up, where you're learning, you're teching, and then you take off and launch this thing for close to a year. And so yeah, it like I said, Madonna was a nice introduction to it. But I'm one of those people. I wanted to challenge myself, and I never understudied Mafala or anything like
Okay.
that. I was just always listening, like during the
Yeah.
scenes and kind of watching the show, from the wings and stuff. And I remember asking to potentially understudy something, and because I just wanted a challenge. So when the audition came for me to audition for Mafala, I kind of like I just used my mind from what I remember hearing and things like that. And one of my good friends, Michelle, she was the Asmerette at one time on tour. She was my Naba reader for my
All right.
scenes. And so she
Yeah.
also helped coach certain moments that, she remembers and whatnot. So yeah, it was honestly like getting to get reacquainted with an old friend kind of thing. And now like I said, doing it almost a year, there's still moments I'm like, also finding and discovering and new things that I'm kind of trying every once in a while. I'm like, oh, let me see if I switch this inflection, how this, does. And also working opposite of Charity, who's our Nava. It's always kind of fun to play off her. Like it's kind of funny. I play her dad, but she feels very much like my little sister kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I
Yeah.
always have to remember. I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be dad. I'm supposed to be dad. Like but she's probably a wonderful sing partner, and she just makes it easy for me to just play along and do all the things.
Yeah.
So it's a really good, like I said, it's a really good company and
That's
cast and all
cool.
that kind of stuff.
For a lot of people who have never seen the show, if they're listening to
Mm.
this, we might as well be speaking Pig Latin right now with Mafala. Like, so tell us a little bit about the Book of Mormon itself and about your character.
So I'll talk about my character. So Mafala Hatimbi is the village leader that we'll find in Uganda, who is also the father of Nabalungi. And I've had to kind of fashion him in a way of like finding the balance between protective, but also, you know, very very closed, eventually open-minded kind of person.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you see the show, you'll understand how I kind of play that. But I would say more so, I've talked about this in previous interviews. As a person who's not a father at
Yeah.
all in my personal life, I am an uncle, and so that's been cool. But also like pulling from my own dad, watching him as I've gotten older. I'm like, oh man, this dude is actually kind of funny. And with him being like ex-military, there's a strictness to him as well. So kind of pulling from that and watching him and then plugging that into Mafala, where his protective nature is very like, didn't I tell you kind of things, but also, having a soft spot for his daughter and seeing her evolution also impacts his evolution. As far as the Book of Mormon, I won't give too much away because I want you guys to see it. But the Book of Mormon essentially follows Elder Price and Elder Cunningham, who are matched together for their missionary trip to go to Uganda and do their mission in Uganda, and it doesn't quite go the way they expect it to,
Mm,
and
it's a good way to
it's
put it.
it's
Yeah.
but I think that's life, honestly. Like you get thrusted into different points of entry into things you thought were gonna go away, and it's like, oh no, this is not what I was expecting. But also in life, you and kind of like in our story, there is a message somewhere in there of life lessons. One thing that, like I said, now doing the show twice, I can honestly say I hope people get the message of community,
Mhm.
found community, and the heart that is, you know, cleverly veiled behind the humor. And that's the thing that I really hope people take away from when they, get to those last couple minutes of the show. It's like, oh, okay, now I've laughed my butt off, but also I see what they were trying to do, and I accept it. And like I always say, I hope people. My thing with the theater is I hope people come to the theater and leave the theater better than they came in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And had that experience collectively with a bunch of people around you, that you can just go, I enjoyed myself for 2.5 hours, and I'm going to talk about it on my way home. Especially with our young fans and super fans that I know we've had one here in Miami. And just so great. They want to talk about it. They've seen various iterations of it. And so it's always nice to meet those people and interact. So it's an experience that I truly am glad to be a part of and give out as much as I can doing this role.
That's great. I love that. The show is hilarious, and I hope people fill the Warner Theater to see you guys.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Now you sing Asadiga Ibawai.
Mm.
I'm not going to tell people what that means. uh, what's it like feeling a new audience process that moment every night?
I would say for me, I I'm not even gonna hold you. I kind of black out a little bit. Like, I think for me, I get so into just telling the story for however long that song is, to where it's like, all right, do with this as you will, and we'll move
Yeah, yeah.
on. But I like to think of it like an unexpected twist in any good story. Like
Yeah.
there's always got to be a wrench, there's always got to be a twist or something. And those would make some of the best shows and movies where it's like I was caught off guard
Uh-huh.
and now I have to see it through. So
Yeah.
I my hope for anybody who comes to see the show is like, if you've ever seen anything by Matt and Tracy, you know the comedy that you're getting into. I grew up in South Park era, like when it dropped. I remember um watching it. I would always tell people I'm a big like comedy connoisseur type of person. Like I grew up with, sneakily watching uh, you know, Eddie Murphy's Raw, Delirious, Richard Pryor on Sunset Boulevard. I've seen Rick Fox stand-ups. I've seen Paul Looney's, stuff. So my understanding of comedy is vast. But
Yeah.
like any good comic, there's always a message somewhere in it and a sense of realism. So whatever happens in the show, there's a sense of like this is what people experience or feel like in their own lives. We just are having to blow it up with comedy. But there is, how they say with every joke, there's like some truth or something. And sometimes that's, maybe some person's truth of how they are interacting with the piece and their own personal life. But if you keep going through the journey, like I said, you reach that point towards the end of the show where you start seeing the message that's been there the whole time. You just have to take the journey just like life is. You got to take the journey. You got to
Yeah.
see it through, and then eventually you'll get to the true punchline, which isn't even punchline, it's just a message at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. And you talked about comedy and your understanding of that. What's the challenge of keeping a show that's, this carefully timed and like feeling fresh and spontaneous after doing it so many times?
I think it's trusting one another. I think our creative team is very great, especially our director Jen, who was just working with the Broadway company for their Mystery Mormon Week, which is happening right now, and so, but she also is across the board, like she interacts with the UK people, the Australian people, so her understand she's been with the company for quite a while.
Hmm.
And so pulling, her knowledge of the show and whatnot, but also having the freedom to, discover things on our own as well. But I think you accomplish that by having people who have an understanding of yes and like we're gonna stick to this, but how we accomplish it really comes into play with how you trust one another. I will say
Yeah.
there was a performance recently where something caught me so off guard on stage that I broke like pretty terribly. And so much so somebody had to interject their line because I was laughing so hard that I had actual tears coming out of my face. But that's also live theater. Like
Yes.
I can hold it together most times or
Yeah.
cleverly veil it behind like my hand or something like that.
Hmm.
But I think that's the thing about comedy. It's very unexpected when it's real, it hits hard and it's hard to disguise. And in that moment, it was so funny, chaotically funny that I couldn't say my line and I couldn't pull it together. And I'm just trying. And the more I try, but I think we do a really good job of keeping it fresh and keeping it entertaining as we've been traveling the country. And I also think our audience has a lot to do with it a lot of times, how they react in a lot of sports, I don't think they realize has a great impact on how we then, it's a cycle. It's very much like, it's a circle. It's coming this way, you're giving it back. Okay, we're giving it. So if the audience is into it and whatnot, it has a profoundly deep impact on how we eventually, wind up in the end and how the ride is for everybody. So I like to tell people come with an open mind, open heart, maybe slightly inebriated if you feel so inclined. Uh,
It does help.
you know, I was like, just as long as you're not singing louder than me, I'm good.
Right.
But I do as a kid who went to see shows early on, I understand the magic of the theater.
Yeah.
Um, and I want people to enjoy it as much as they can and really take in the information. And like I said, leave better than you came in. That's always my thing.
Mhm.
It's like any it's the theater is like any other institution, like church or anything else. You go seeking something and you get the message and then you leave and then you try to apply it somewhere in your life. Now, how you can apply Book of Mormon to your individual life, I leave that to the the audience. But I think community and kind of the world, the state of the world we're in, is the thing that I hope people identify and strive for in their own communities. And whether that's, your friend community, your local community or whatnot, like finding that found community and trying to make the world a better place and making your community a better place is really the thing that I've taken from it and trying to put out as much as possible.
That's I would love that answer. Now you've been on tour for a while. What's one item that you pack on tour that you cannot live without?
Ooh, there's so many. I wish I could do a haul of all the things that I have to make sure I do. I would say, hold on, is it up here? Um, I thought I had it. I had like literally, I'm at my desk and like all my things are here. I would say, what is the one thing? I only because it's here right now. I have this. I don't know if people can. I'm gonna do my little influencer thing. I have a battery pack that I use that I've had for a long time. That it's one of those things like I just randomly carry because you never know when you'll need a charge
A
at any
charge,
given
yeah.
time. But I have a couple things like I've kind of mastered the art of what it is to tour, and
Mm.
so there are different things like I have a food scale that I
Nice.
travel with. I have an actual scale as well. So I have a nutritionist and a coach that I've actually known since high school. Jennifer Geller has a company called Jet Fitness. She's actually on Hamilton right now. She's been with the company for a while now. She was on tour actually, and then eventually moved to the Broadway. But we've known each other since high school.
Mm.
And so we've been working now together for almost a year and a half. And because it was one thing where like I discovered very badly that tour life and eating good is a challenge depending on where you're
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
So much so I got the freshman 30 a few times. Um, and
Freshman
so my
60.
last, yeah, I was like, ooh. And my last time on tour when I left in season two, I was like, I moved to New York. I was like, oh my God, like, why didn't nobody tell me I gained this much? It's all the Uber Eats after the show, and not the good
Yeah,
kind. Not like I'm, Ubering a smoothie to my hotel at midnight.
yeah.
It's a lot of McDonald's, a lot of McDonald's.
Mm.
And so I was like, okay, let's find a way. And so I was working on a project in um Florida, and when I started working with her, and it was really finding out different staples and things of like how to actually eat in a way that wasn't like restrictive, but like actually enjoying food and kind of like that, and figuring out your macros and stuff like that. So now that I'm on tour, we've still been working together this whole time, and I've actually
Mm.
like lost weight while I've been doing it, which has been phenomenal and great.
Good for you, man.
So
Yeah.
now like I travel with a food scale, an actual scale. I have plastic containers for food. Like, when I'm going to the theater, I might have like a cup of rice and I stick some, Chipotle chicken in there or something. Maybe
Mm.
find some veggies. I have a Theragun because I'm not 20 something anymore. I have one of the really cool things that I found is I have a collapsible foam roll, like a deep tissue foam roll that collapses into like a nice little square, and I can stick it in my backpack. I can stick it in my suitcase. It's perfect. I have a yoga mat, so I like to
Okay.
switch up my workouts every once in a while. So like today was one of my last lifting days. And
Mm.
so technically tomorrow I'm supposed to do like a full body in the gym, but I always like using that day as like maybe I'll do yoga, I'll go for a walk, do like a core cardio thing. We have a pool here. I was like, maybe I could do laps. So
Yeah,
those are the things I'm finding help me actually do the thing 8 times a week is like my prep for the show starts like early in the morning. How I,
yeah.
I'm at the gym, I'm eating, what I'm doing during the day, and that kind of stuff helps to propel a good performance by the time I hit
Yeah,
the theater.
it's great. Yeah, it is so hard to eat healthy when you're on the road like that.
Oh
So
yeah.
hard. Yeah, you
Like
got
I'm
to find
already
a
thinking
way.
about lunch now. I'm like, where am I going after this interview to get
Yeah.
lunch?
Well, we'll let you get
Always
out
the
of here pretty
question.
soon.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Now, before I get to my last couple questions,
Yeah.
Zach and James, do you guys have any questions for Jerry?
Jarius, you speak so eloquently. You've already answered all of my questions. Like,
Now,
Look, blame my
Jarius,
mom.
Jarius, as a cast member of the Book of Mormon, do you have any
Mm.
questions for James, who grew up in the church?
James, why y'all can't have coffee? I was having coffee at like 8 years old. What's look, look, you've been delivered. That was the one thing I was like, what you mean?
But all those
My grand
caffeinated soda shops all over Utah? Yeah,
right. I'm like,
I know.
I was like, I don't know if they still make this
It's
anymore, but there was this drink in high school, might have started in middle school, called Vault.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
oh,
I
my
remember that.
God. I don't know if I can say this on the podcast, but cracked out for a vault like every chance I got. And
it's
especially when they came out with Blue Vault. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yep,
I
Blue
was
Vault was
game.
good.
I was
Yeah,
game. I'm like today's kids will never know what was pushed upon us in those vending machines. It's like getting people
yes,
ready to drink like why are we drinking Monsters and Red Bull like at like 13, 14, 15, just trying to go
yeah,
to class. I'm like, what is going on?
yeah,
No, I always get I actually met someone in DC who was also an ex-Mormon, and I every once in a while it's hard to tell sometimes. I was telling somebody this recently. It's hard to tell sometimes when people come to the show that will be in like Mormon attire if
yeah,
they're cosplaying or if they really are.
yeah,
Like it's that moment where I'm on stage, I'm like, okay, I see a name tag. I think. Maybe. So it's always hard to tell. I don't know. I'm like, just thank you for coming. I appreciate you coming and being open-minded. But sometimes it's like a group of them, and I'm just like, maybe they're fans,
It's like,
but
where's
maybe they're
Waldo?
yeah. It's like they may also be of the church, which is also fine. I just want to make sure I'm respecting the cosplay or the attire at
yeah,
present. So
yeah, for sure.
That's
Now, I got a couple
hilarious.
questions. That's so good. Yeah,
yeah,
just a couple questions. We got about 8 minutes left before the
yeah.
Zoom runs out. Um, who is the funniest person in the cast off stage?
Ooh, funniest person off stage in the cast. Oh, that is a good question. I would have to say it's a toss-up between Shafiq and Journey Martin.
Okay,
Yeah, those two terrible culprits at like being funny off stage.
love it, love it. And the last question we have, Erie and the surrounding area, it's filled with community theaters, college theater programs. Uh, no professional theater around here, unless you go to like
Mm,
Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Buffalo.
heard.
What what advice would you have for our listeners who might want to pursue this as a career?
I would say, oh man, there's so much could say, and I'm trying to figure out how to say it in 7 minutes. I So once I graduated from grad school, I started in Atlanta. Like I didn't, I know some people, graduate from their programs and what, and they shoot straight to, New York. Some people stay, in their local, but I've seen a lot of people like, I'm going to New York. I'm like,
Mhm.
cool. Everybody has a different journey. I was actually talking to my cousin who graduated high school last year, and now she's, working professionally and trying to find her voice, her way, and whatnot. So I had a big cousin moment with her yesterday, just kind of giving her some advice. And I was telling her, giving her kind of a perspective. So I didn't go on my first tour till I was 25, 26. I didn't start working regionally until roughly around that time, 26 or so. I didn't book Mormon until I was like 29, almost 30. Like I turned 30 while we were in tech.
Okay.
And now I'll be 34 in September. And I'm just now leading, as a principal
Mhm.
on a national tour. And I told her that all to say everything has a time. Everybody's timing is different, but I'm thankful for my time when it came to what the community in Atlanta that like took me in and let me experience things. Like my first show, I worked at Atlanta Lyric Theater. Actually, no, scratch that. My first like show outside of education before I went to undergrad was at a theater in Cummings, Georgia. It was at the Cumming Playhouse. They did Big River, and I played Jim. And I
Mhm.
don't, I think I got a gas something, but I didn't get like paid. But this was like community theater.
Yeah.
But that experience, like I gained community, connections of people who I still talk to this day, who are like family to me. And then when I came back and started after grad school, like the Atlanta community was where like I invested before I even thought about starting to go to New York or anything like that. But those people kept pouring into me. I got cast in shows. I gained friends and skills and whatnot. And then the pandemic happened, and then I poured my own efforts. I actually started a production company that, put on things so friends could keep, fostering whatnot. And so I never have lost the sense of like finding a place that will help you grow. So when it's time for you to fly and go off, you have that support, you have that knowledge, and you have like people truly backing you to go forward. It pains me when I hear stories about, governmental places and communities not investing in the arts. Um, I still keep up with Atlanta politics a lot, especially in the theater scene. So I've heard recent stories about theaters and local official capacities having tiffs and whatnot. I'm like, the arts are like way more important than you could ever imagine. Like having the arts honestly saved me.
Yeah.
Like I don't talk about it enough, but like when we lived in the city, like we lived in the city of Atlanta, I I went to a pretty rough middle school. The area we lived in wasn't like, you know, it wasn't what it is now.
Yeah.
It's definitely had some for lack of a better term, some upgrades and slight gentrification. Uh
Mhm.
but
Yep. Yep.
but that area, like I was getting in trouble so much and
Mhm.
whatnot. And it's honestly thanks to me playing the harp. That's what started it. And
All right.
then um getting into the arts. Like those are because like I didn't have time. Like after school, where I'm at, I'm practicing the harp with my
Yeah.
ensemble, and then we're going to, but the art helps people find alternatives to different things and different ways of life. Because growing up, I only thought your way out was rapping and sports.
Yeah.
But this gave me another outlet to like really pour into something else and something greater. Um, and so now I'm like, oh, I want to make sure I give that back whenever I can. And so I would say find a community, find people to invest in you, not just on a personal level, but sometimes professionally. Like finding a mentor is really big. Those
Yeah.
people who are always name dropping whatnot, I give them their flowers at every turn I can. If I see you, I'm thanking you. I'll send you a text, hey, I had this interview. I named you. I want you just to know, like, it's all about what was given to me. I freely give back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say keep grinding, keep finding those things. And I would say as I've gotten older, the more I figure out myself and what I want, the more my career has taken various turns that even I didn't think looked like it would, and it's actually been a blessing in a lot of ways that I've gotten to do it. So that's kind of where I come from. I come from a place of pour into yourself, pour into your community, and you'd be surprised what you get back in return.
Mhm. That's great. Love that advice. Jerry, thank you so much for joining us today. You guys are going to be in Erie at the Warner Theater on June 17th and 18th with Broadway and Erie.
Yes,
The
Yay!
15th anniversary tour of the Book of Mormon. Can't wait to
yes,
see it. We will be there on the 17th.
All
So
right. Well, come on, look,
yeah,
slide by the stage door. I'd love to say hello and meet everybody in person.
will do, man. Yeah, that sounds great. Well, thanks
All
a lot for
right,
joining
y'all.
us today, man.
Hey, thank y'all
Go get
so
some.
much. Have a good one.
Thanks,
Yeah, go
Jarius.
get some lunch,
Thank
man.
you.
Thanks, y'all.